game, so he misses out of the starting lineup. But Kondo is an incredibly gifted player and one to keep an eye out on.
Okay, so who is your man to look out for? Remember, I mean, they're looking to bounce back from their first defeat of the season, going down 2-1 to Tanjong Pagar. Who's the man who's going to help them out tonight?
That man right there, number 32, going through his warm-ups here right now. A player with really good pedigree, former Japanese youth international under 16 level, Cerezo Osaka, under 23 player. And someone who's very exciting to watch. You know, loves to get on the ball and take players on, and can create all sorts of issues with his running at defenders. 5 goals and 2 assists for Albirex this season.
All right, we're going to have a look at the Hougang United starting lineup. Remember, a 1-0 victory in their last game against the Young Lions. Narrow escape there. Has Clement Teo shaken things up for this one?
Yeah, he's made 3 changes to the lineup from the last time out against Young Lions. Afik Noor comes in. Naufal Asman and Maksat Zakibaliev coming back into the side from suspension. It does look like it's going to be a back 3 for them, actually. As I'm looking at this lineup here with Anders, Lionel, and Maksat. So I think they're just taking a leaf out of Tanjung Pagar United's, out of Tanjung Pagar United's tactics. Yeah, I will just hang on a second until I get to that. And carry on with the player to watch.
Okay, and Tomoyoki Doi has scored 16 goals for Hougang United this season. I'm guessing that he is your man to watch from this team.
Yeah, I think it's the obvious one, Tomoyuki Doi, with the goals that he scored. And the reason why I pointed this out, because he got 16 goals, but he hasn't scored any against his old club, Albirex Niigata. And this is his 3rd and final chance in the league this season to open his accounts against his former club. So Tomoyuki Doi, 16 goals, 5 assists. That is 16 plus 5 is 21 goal contributions to Hougang's total this season.
Yeah, well, Albirex Niigata, I got to say, they're probably the favorites going into this one, not only because they're top of the table, but because they seem to have Hougang's number. Yeah. They've beaten them their last 4 meetings, and that includes their last meeting, which came only 2 weeks ago. I know you watched that match July the 30th. Hougang United actually dominated the first part of the game, but Albirex came back to take the 3 points.
Yeah, and intensity was very good from Hougang United in that game. Opening 45 minutes or so, Hougang were the better side, created better chances, better opportunities, played at a very good intensity, played on those counter-attacks, and they had lots of pace with Shawal and Kisson on either flank, and Kisson Philip got himself a goal. Unfortunately, Hougang weren't able to keep up with intensity and tempo in the second half, and that's where Albirex, with that game-changing substitution of Tezuka coming in, and then allowing Taniguchi to play further forward. He picked up 2 assists in this game. And then that's a man that I picked out earlier, Kuraba Kondo, as the one to watch. And they went on all the way to win the game and pick up an important 3 points. So two wins in 2 so far from Albirex. That's a beautiful goal by Tezuka. And Hougang will be hoping to make it 3rd time lucky, I guess.
Yeah, well, Tezuka getting a start tonight. He scored both times that he has played against Hougang United this season. You know what? That game just 2 weeks. Okay, all right. As we take a look at the last 5 meetings I mentioned, Albirex Niigata have won the last 4. Hougang United managed a 1-1 draw back in 2019. 2 years ago was the last time they took a point. That defeat on July the 30th, it's still raw. It's still fresh in Hougang's minds. How are they going to bounce back and try to get a 3 points in revenge tonight? Yeah,
I think there'll be a change in the shape. I think there'll be a change in the setup, the way they've set themselves up tactically. I think they'll look at Tanjung Pagar United last time out, picking up a 2-1 win against Albirex, and it was a situation where they had 5 at the back, 4 in midfield, just the 1 up front, and they found a bit of joy in those by employing those tactics. Yeah, dude. I mean, yes. Thank you for telling me.
Clement Teo was asked about what he would like to see changed and improved on after that loss to Albirex 2 weeks ago, and he brought up defense. That's what we're going to be talking about, Hougang's defense after a quick break. We'll be right back. Stay with us here on the Singapore Premier League. Well, thanks so much for joining us this evening. We're live at the Jurong Stadium for tonight's featured game from the AIA Singapore Premier League. What a game we have in store for you. It is first versus third in the table between last season's champions Albirex Niigata at home tonight against Hougang United. The visitors, the Cheetahs, fresh off a 1-0 victory over the Young Lions last Saturday. That was their first clean sheet in 9 games. Albirex Niigata, on the other hand, they're coming off their first defeat of the season. Welcome along. My name is Colette Wong, and I am delighted to be joined alongside Rish Roshan Rai, Asian football pundit commentator. We've got a lovely evening here tonight at the Jurong Stadium, Roshan. It's game week 15, which signals the start of the final third of the Singapore Premier League table. But before we move on to that, let's have a look at the standings, just to remind you of where the teams stand tonight. The two teams in action, of course, Albirex, they are top of the table. Hougang United sitting there in third place, but they can go above the Lion City Sailors if they win tonight, at least till Sunday when the Sailors take on Tampines Rovers at the Jalan Besar Stadium. They are currently 3 points back of the leaders, Albirex. But they do have a game in hand, and that's going to set up a really exciting finish to the season. Tampines still in 4th spot, despite not having played since May the 22nd. And I've just lost the table, so I can't tell you who else is there, but it's going to be an excellent run to the end of the season. As I was saying, it's the last third of the season, 7 games left for most of these teams, Roshan. And as we just saw there, we have absolutely no idea who's going to clinch the title at the end of the day.
Which is absolutely fantastic. And yes, it is a wonderful evening, but as you can tell from the look on my shirt here, I'm a little bit drenched. It is very humid, which it usually is
you're
in
looking
Singapore.
stunning, Roshan.
Thank you very much. But the focus is on the teams. Let's put it back towards them. And look, it's going to be great for the neutrals out there, and even for the fans of the clubs. You're still in with a chance of a title potentially if you're within that top 4. Let's not push Tampines Rovers out of it. They've still got games in hand as well. And so it's going to be fascinating. This is going to be a big weekend of football in the SPL, starting here tonight with the match between these two sides.
Yeah, Albirex are in kind of a strange territory because they're coming off their first defeat of the season, losing 2-1 to Tanjong Pagar last week. So my question to you with that in mind is, has Shigatomi made any changes ahead of this one?
He's made just the one change for Albirex Niigata, and that is Taniguchi, the number 7. He moves over to the substitutes bench, and number 32, Kuraba Kondo, comes in. Otherwise, with Shigatomi and with Albirex Niigata, when you look at them throughout the season, they don't make too many changes. In fact, 4 out of that back 5, and I say back 5, including the goalkeeper, Koga, have played every minute this season in the league for Albirex Niigata. The only player who's not played every minute in the league this season is Ryo Kunimoto, the number 25, but he's been in there as well, pretty consistent ever since, I think, match day 2 of the Singapore Premier League. You look at that team and the players who've got developed a really good understanding amongst each other. Taniguchi comes out, has to take his place on the substitutes bench. Might have picked up a little bit of an injury the last time out against Tanjong Pagar United, so perhaps just being a little bit cautious is Shigatomi in that situation.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the players on the bench. It's really nice to see Fairoz Hassan there, the number 20, coming back from injury. But your man to watch, who are you looking out for today?
Yeah, I'm looking out for the number 32, Kuraba Kondo. And he's an incredibly gifted player, very talented, great pedigree, former Cerezo Osaka under-23 player, former Japanese youth international as well. And when you watch him play, it's just lovely, just really beautiful. And him and 32 and actually a number 10 right in front of him there, Nagasawa, both players who have got wonderful ability on the ball. You get it into them, they're dribblers, so they make things happen. They draw defenders towards them, create spaces. That in turn creates spaces for their teammates. They're able to beat 1, 2, 3 defenders when they're really on the game. So those are going to be a couple of players for not just us to watch, but for Hougang to watch tonight as well. Because if you get it into Kondo, if he's got space to run at you, he can absolutely hurt you. 5 goals and 2 assists for Albirex this season already.
That's fantastic. I'm already looking forward to this one. The way you've described it, Albirex Niigata, they are such a good team to watch, and you will enjoy them tonight against Hougang. And speaking of Hougang, remember, they're coming off a narrow 1-0 win against the Young Lions last week. They were missing a couple of players for that game, but it seems like some of them have returned for this one.
Yeah, they've made 3 changes from that last game. In come Afiq Noor, Naufal Osman, and Maksad Zakibaliev. Maksad Zakibaliev coming back into the side from suspension. So he comes back, and he's a really important player for them in the center of the park. He puts himself about. He goes about hammering people in those central defensive positions, and he's not afraid to get himself stuck in. Can be a bit of a threat at the set pieces as well in those situations. But again, when you look at this Hougang United side, the likes of Kaishu Yamazaki, plenty of quality in those central midfield areas to drive the game for them. I'm a big fan as well of the number 15, that young man, Farhan Zulkifli, who gets lots and lots of game time and is outstanding down the left-hand side.
Well, I'm sure you're a big fan of Tomoyuki Doi as well. They're number 9, the forward. Even he scored 16 goals, and I'm guessing he's your player to watch tonight for Hougang United.
Look, that's the name that stands out immediately, right? If you've got a lineup like that and you don't pick the top scorer of the league as the player to watch, then there must be something a little bit wrong with you. Thankfully, there's nothing wrong with me. I've got him as the man to watch. 16 goals in the league this season, 5 assists. That's 21 goal contributions to Hougang total of 33 this season. And I think that's by far the best goal contribution in the league this season. The funny thing about Doi is he scored against all the other teams in the league. The only team he hasn't scored against so far this season is his former club, Albirex.
That is interesting.
So it's going to, not just Hougang looking to make it third time lucky against Albirex, Tomoyuki Doi as well looking to score against his former club.
Oh my goodness, yeah, he's got a purpose going out onto the pitch tonight. But let's talk about Albirex because I fancy they go into this one as the favourites. Not only because they're top of the table, Roshan, but also because they seem to have Hougang United's number. They've beaten them in their last 4 meetings, and that includes the last meeting they had just 2 weeks ago, July the 30th, winning 2-1. You watched this match. You called it. I mean, Hougang actually looked really good early on.
They looked very good. Yeah, they took the lead through Kishon Philip in the 29th minute here, and it was really nice to see. They had plenty of pace. Shawal on the left-hand side, Kishon on the right-hand side, and what they did was, yes, they said to Albirex, you can have the ball, but we're going to press with aggression, with intensity, and they did that incredibly well in the first 45 minutes. In the first half of this game, I thought they were absolutely outstanding. Second half, it was a bit of an issue for them in terms of trying to carry on with that intensity.
Yes.
Albirex also were able to sort of make that change with Tezuka coming on, being that game-changing substitution. Have a look at this goal.
Sure,
I mean, that's a goal that deserves to be the match-winning effort. So look, they've got plenty of quality, plenty of talent in that Albirex side. Hougang, can they sort of maintain those intensity levels as the game goes on? And that's going to be the challenge for them tonight.
Yeah, Tezuka, by the way, he has scored both times that he has played against Hougang United this season. Can he, yes. Can he make it 3 in a row? As we take a look at the last 5 meetings, you can see there, Albirex having beaten Hougang United the last 4 times. You've got to go back to 2019, August. That's 2 years ago when Hougang last picked up a point. Now, just going back to that last defeat for Hougang, you know, that match is still very raw in their minds. I mean, they'll be hungry. They'll be hungry for revenge tonight. Yeah,
they will be. And I think, you know, when I look at the lineup, I'm wondering whether we're looking at a situation where they might just change the formation a little bit. Maybe they go with a 3 in the center of defense, which can become a back 5 with Farhan Zulkifli maybe playing as a left wing back, Nazrul Nazari playing as a right wing back. Down the right-hand side. So that can easily just sort of drop off into a bank of 5 with the 4 in front of them. And then maybe Tomoyuki Doi is that single striker up front. Because maybe they're looking at what Tanjung Pagar United did against Albirex the last time out, where Tanjung Pagar employed those tactics to perfection. I mean, they set deep. Yes, they had to, you know, they had to withstand a little bit of pressure. And in those games against Albirex, you need to understand that you are going to suffer. You are going to have to give them a little bit of possession of the ball. But there are times when you can exploit on the counter-attack because Hashioka gets himself forward, Tokiwa gets himself forward from those fullback positions. And in those spaces on either side of the flanks, that in behind the fullback, that's where you can really exploit them with pace, with speed. If you can break and transition very quickly, that's where you can really hurt this Albirex Niigata side.
You know, Albirex are looking to bounce back from their first defeat of the season. Hougang United are looking to bounce back from 4 defeats against Albirex in the last 4 meetings. What kind of a game are you expecting tonight?
I think there will be goals. I feel like I say that all the time when we've got an SPL match, and so far I haven't been proven wrong. So I'm hoping there will be goals here. And again, I think the pattern of play is going to be such, excuse me while I just pull my mask back up, the pattern of the game is going to be such that, again, Albirex will be that side that will dominate possession. But there will be times when Hougang will play with that intensity to press in certain situations. Now, the last time that these two sides met as well, what I saw, and I feel like I keep harping on this point as well, because they're perhaps the first side in the league that I've seen this season actually go and press Albrex's goalkeeper, Koga,
Yeah.
in those possession
Yeah.
phases of play. So I wonder if they're going to still use that and try and put that pressure on Koga so he can't ping those passes from midfield. In fact, a goalkeeper playing that high. So I think we're going to have an interesting little tactical battle. Like I said, as I mentioned, Hougang, perhaps with that difference of a tactical shape, I'm interested to see what Clementino has got up his sleeves here.
Well, I cannot wait for this game to get started. We're just minutes away from that. Clementino, by the way, was asked after that defeat to Albirex 2 weeks ago what needs to be improved, and he mentioned defense. We're going to take a short break now. When we come back, we will be talking about Hougan's defense, and we'll also hear from both respective coaches. Stay with us. Welcome back. It is a beautiful evening here in the eastern side of Singapore. We're at the Jurong East Stadium for tonight's live game between Albirex and Niigata up against Hougang United. Let's just check in on this weekend's games, though, in the Singapore Premier League. We've got two matches coming up for you tomorrow. The Young Lions will entertain Balestier Khalsa, while Geylang have a potentially tricky tie against Tanjong Pagar. And on Sunday, Tampines Rovers, well, they are back in SPL action for the first time since May. What a game that is going to be, up against the Lion City Sailors, currently second in the SPL table. That is one game not to be missed, and what great fun it is going to be for us to watch Tampines Rovers. We haven't seen them in action since May the 22nd in the SPL. Obviously, they having gone to play in the Asian Champions League. They are back. They had to go through quarantine, and of course, coming out of that, I'm just wondering what kind of form you think they'll be in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. You wonder what kind of sort of rhythm, what kind of momentum they will have, and I think that's all sort of going to be wiped out a little bit because, you know, they were sort of getting into a nice little rhythm, playing matches every 3 days in the Champions League, coming back and having to quarantine, of course. We know the difficulties of the world these days. They got a few games in hand as well. But I'll tell you what, you know, it's an excellent weekend of football in the SPL. It starts off here, ends off brilliantly on Sunday. And then you've got Lion City Sailors against Tampines Rovers. And there's a chance for Albirex to really put lots of pressure on Lion City Sailors when they are next in action.
Yes. Well, Albirex, of course, they are the home side here at the Jurong East Stadium, coming off a defeat last weekend. Let's hear from both coaches, starting with KG Shikatomi.
Albirex suffered their first loss of the season against Tanjong Pagar. How will your players bounce back mentally?
We learned a lot from the losing game, so we want to show our fighting spirits for this game.
Okay, thank you. Tomoyuki Doi has been outstanding for Hougang. How will Albirex contain him tonight?
We play as usual, but we will play more aggressively.
Okay, thanks, Coach. And with LCS just 3 points behind you with a game in hand, is there any added pressure on you guys with the title race heating up?
We play under pressure in every match. However, we will do our best to get 3 points.
Albirex have beaten you guys twice this season. How will you guys set up differently today?
Actually, not twice, including friendly game is 4 times.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we're going to do what we are good at, strong at. But of course, naturally, we know that Albirex is a good side. We will do what we can. Naturally, we would also come. We will not say that, because we lost you 4 times, including 2 friendly games, and we will just give up like this. No, it will not happen.
Okay. And also, after the international break, you guys have picked up 3 points from 3 games. I would say it is relatively lesser compared to before the international break. How vital is the return of Maksat and Gilberto for this match?
Well, I mean, international break is something that we are not the only one who is taking a longer break than expected. But unfortunately, it has stopped our momentum and a little frustrating. But well, this is something we need to learn to cope. Yeah. As for players, I think everyone in my team is crucial. Yeah. It's not about individual, it's about how this team works together, how this team comes out playing together. And I think the bottom line is it's not all about individual, this is a team sport. So unity for us is the priority.
Okay, and there are 7 games left in this season. Do you see you guys challenging for the title at the end of this season?
I mean, honestly, in any sport or in any competition, I mean, we will definitely want to do the best of our abilities. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all about consistency. Yeah. I mean, it is something that not only us who are finding it difficult, but I guess any team in the world will find it difficult. I mean, if you're going into competition and saying that, okay, we are just going to do what we can, or just no, we will not fight for top few places, then it defeats the purpose.
Stanley Yeo, our pitchside reporter, speaking to both coaches. And Clement, you're reminding Stanley that it's not twice that they've lost to Albirex Niigata this season. It's 4 times, including the friendlies that they've played against them. But Albirex are coming into this game a little bit wounded, having dropped their first 3 points. They picked up their first defeat of the season. You watched that match. What happened, and what can Hougang do to exploit that?
Yeah, again, I think I touched on this. They were looking at how Tanjong Pagar played in this one, and they'll pick up a few pointers here. In the sense that, again, you set themselves up, of course, as, with that back 5. They make sure they work really hard off the ball, be nice and compact in those situations, and then very quickly they exploited situations in those counter-attacking areas. They actually had before this winner you're about to see from Luis Jr. They had a couple of opportunities, longer balls, direct balls played in behind Albrex's defense, where Khairul Amri had a couple of opportunities to actually finish off the match and win it for Tanjung Pagar. But I mean, this was again, we talk about match-winning goals, moment of brilliance here from Luis Jr., who came on, replaced Khairul Amri, and could have scored another one closer towards the end of the game as well. In the end, it was enough for Tanjung Pagar United there. So I think if in terms of Hougang United, again, as I said, maintain your discipline, keep those intensity levels up, and as I touched on in the first part of this show, make sure you can transition very quickly to hurt Albirex in those counter-attacking situations.
Well, Hougang United will be buoyed by their victory against the Young Lions last week. It was a narrow victory, but they kept their first clean sheet in 9 Premier League games. So they'll be absolutely happy with that. But when you look at the table, it's 24 24 goals conceded by Hougang United. And that's the most number of goals conceded amongst the teams in the top 4. And that's a huge area of concern for the Cheetahs.
It is, and I think especially when you look at the stats in terms of the second half and where they're conceding goals, 67% of the goals conceded in the second half. So I mentioned that intensity drop against Albirex the last time out. And that's an area of concern, because the way Hougang United want to play this season is that they're quite happy to give possession away. They're quite happy to concede possession, but then they want to press with intensity, as I mentioned. And again, those intensity levels, they want to quicken tempo of matches, and that can come into play in the second half of matches, towards the latter stages of matches. And it's just sometimes at times as well, it's about adapting to that sort of style, that the demands placed on those players in terms of you need to be going all the way through. And Albirex had a great example of a side that maintained intensity levels all throughout these matches.
Well, we have a great game coming up for you live here at the Jurong East Stadium. The players are just about ready to come on to the pitch and begin this one. Remember, Albirex Niigata, they really do need to win this one in order to finish game week 15, top of the table. It's going to be great. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with Albirex versus Hougang United.
A very warm welcome to one and all. We are coming to you live from the Jurong East Stadium, home of the reigning Singapore Premier League champions Albirex Niigata, who remain on course for a 5th league crown. But standing in their way tonight is Hougang United, who will be looking to condemn the White Swans to their first back-to-back defeats since 2019. And here alongside with me is a man who's no stranger to local football, former SPL player, or rather former S-League player, Rish Roshan Rai. Great to have you with us as always. And it's also great to have fans back in the stadium. 500 fans have been allowed to enter the stadiums, and that number will change to 1,000 next week. This is, of course, in line with the government's regulations with regards to sporting events. fans will have to produce proof of a negative ART result or show that they've received both doses of vaccinations. Roshan, that is a step in the right direction, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. First of all, just to break the ice a little bit, you came into me with that introduction having said Hougang lost, Albirex trying to avoid their first back-to-back defeat since 2019, and I thought you were going to ask me what that actually feels like, but thankfully you went another way. But yeah, it's great to see fans back in the grounds, which is brilliant, and it's coming at a fantastic time as well as the league heads into its crucial final few weeks. You know, we've got an exciting title race ahead of us. I think there's still 4 teams in it. I'm not even going to discount Tampines Rovers because they've got games in hand, and it's going to be fascinating to see how they sort of react to the fact that they've been out of action for a while now, out of domestic action for a while now. They've had those quarantine issues that they've had to deal with. They've been training a little bit, and then to come back and the first game you're playing is against the Lion City Sailors, who are sitting second in the table at the moment. So in the here and now, Albirex against Hougang, again, 2 sides that are still in title contention, especially with Hougang. I mean, if they win this one, they pick up 3 points here. They close that gap to just 2. And I think it sets Albirex up in terms of giving them those little bit of nerves, knowing that they are being chased by some of the other local sides here. So it's going to be a fascinating weekend of football for me, Abi.
Albirex will be breathing a huge sigh of relief after what happened at Toa Payoh Stadium last week, because the Sailors had the chance to catch up after Albirex lost to Tanjong Pagar, but perhaps they were lucky to get a draw from that game.
Yeah, I think in the end they were able to just push and find a way through. It's such a difficult pitch to play on, that Toa Payoh Stadium pitch, and they always had a feeling that Lion City Sailors were going to struggle on that one. Incredibly bumpy, and it's not suited to sides who like to keep the ball on the ground and like to play football, and that's what the Lion City Sailors are. Conceding that goal and then eventually finding a point. So yes, opportunity missed to put even more pressure on Albirex, but I think they'll still feel a little bit. It's not a complete disaster. Bigger picture, they're still in title race.
As we see the Toin course being conducted by main referee Ahmad Akasha, he'll be assisted by Andy Tan and Rida Syed, with Fahan Mohammed playing the role of the 4th official for today. Lionel Tan and Hashioka, they're the 2 skippers for tonight. As both teams prepare to do battle here. Albirex, Roshan, they have been very, very dominant in the league in the last few years, but this season perhaps they do look like they can be beaten.
Yeah, they certainly do. They will give you opportunities. I mean, when you look at the numbers in the league and when you look at those individual stats and you look at saves made, Koga's right up there. And normally, when you're a side who's first in any league, I think around the world, generally your goalkeepers aren't up there in terms of shots saved. So that really, to me, is a sign that they will give you opportunities. They will give opportunities to the opposition. And it's just a matter of once you get in behind that Albirex defense, whether you can beat Koga, who has been in good form.
Well, as you mentioned earlier in the pre-show, KG Shigatomi has kept his back line more or less intact. 4 of the back 5, as you said, have played every game, every minute actually of every game, included, and also a midfielder as well in the form of, I believe, Chiku. He's played every minute of every game as well. What do you make of Shigatomi's selection for today?
Yeah, I think his Taniguchi has been replaced because I suspect he picked up a bit of an injury towards the end of that Tanjong Pagar United game, and I think it's a little bit of caution at play here. But with a player like Kondo coming in, I mean, it's just incredible that you can replace Taniguchi and bring in a player of Kondo's quality into the lineup. And touched on him and what he brings to this Albirex Niigata side in our build-up to this match. Wonderful with the ball at his feet, loves taking defenders on, a very exciting player. And his link-up, especially with the number 10, Nagasawa, it's just going to be fascinating. It's going to be an area of concern for Hougang United. It's going to be something that the Cheetahs will have to keep an eye out on. And Tezuka and Chiku, with the understanding that those two have in central midfield, it's given them a very strong, stable base to build from those central midfield positions. When you look at them in terms of their possession play, in terms of their build-up, keep an eye out on which of these midfielders is dropping off to receive it, which of them is looking to dictate the play here. And of course, when you got the fullbacks, Hashioka and Tokiwa bombing forward with those diagonals going out to them, they are a danger in those wider positions, as Clementio will very much know.
Clementio is coming to his 4th year at the club. He, of course, took over Hougang as caretaker coach in 2017 and has done really, really well. They've signed some quality players, the latest being Iswan Mahmood, who of course adds a lot of stability to the back line because Hougang have conceded some very soft goals over the years. He's got to be up for it against the reigning champions and the league leaders as we kick off this exciting encounter. Albirex playing in orange from right to left in the screens. Hougang in their away kit, their blue top and shorts. Hougang with a very early throw there. As Maksat botches his clearance. Ong Yun plays it in. Kondo couldn't bring the ball down as Albirex win a corner within the first minute of the game.
That could have been a big opportunity for Albirex already. Just a few seconds into the match, you could see Kondo. If he could have just taken that touch in front of him, he would have been one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and then you would have backed Kondo to go on and finish that.
It's Tezuka on this corner kick. Ball comes into the near post, and that's the opening goal there. Well, it took just the opening minute for Albirex to take the lead here at the Jurong East Stadium. This is not what Hougang United would have wanted. We were just talking about Hougang's defense and how they needed to cut those easy goals going in. And once again, the Cheetahs' defense has let them down. Albirex with the lead.
Yeah, not the sort of start that the Cheetahs are looking for. I think it's Kunimoto who actually gets his flick on here at the near post. And it's just simple, you know, just a bit of movement in that situation. He starts his run a little bit earlier, and they get in ahead of the defense there, and he's able to flick it on towards the back post. And Hougang, I mean, look, very early on, the warning signs were there. I mean, 40 seconds in, you had Kondo getting in behind. And then from the resulting corner, Tezuka delivers quality into the box, picking up his second assist of the season. And then it's flicked home by Ryo Kunimoto.
Well, this will force Hougang to come forward now. As you mentioned, they might have started with a 5 at the back just to contain Albirex. Certainly looks like it.
Well, it does look like it's a 5 at the back, doesn't it? I mean, Nazrul, Maksat, Lionel, Anders, and Farhan, that being that back 5. And said in the build-up to this, they probably would have been looking at that Tanjung Pagar United game and thinking, you know, perhaps this is something we can use against Albirex when we play them. But look, what Tanjung Pagar did really well was to hold out in that game and not concede within the first couple of minutes of this match. So it's pretty much all your tactical plans go kind of out the window in a sense. And here's another corner for them to defend.
Once again, Albirex with another corner. We're just into the 4th minute of the game right now. It's Tezuka on corner kick duties. The ball comes in again, this time into a more central position. Hougang need to clear the lines. Oh, it's an early volley. First time from Kondo. Didn't catch it perfectly there for Kondo. As Iswan picks up the ball comfortably for a goal kick.
They just flicked away by Naufal onto the edge of the area. Decent enough technique. Fortunately goes up and over the bar as Doi tries to hang on to it. Now usually for sides, when you're used to playing a system where it's a back 4, and that's something that comes naturally to you, when you suddenly sort of switch your formation into a back 5 for one specific game. And yes, you may have been working on it in training sessions, but it can take a bit of time for you actually to kind of get adjusted. You know, again, I talk about the situations being, you know, natural for a player. There is this bit of automation at times, if I could use that word, in the sense that, you know, it's what you expect. You kind of know what you're sort of dealing with. So when there are differences in the styles of play in terms of when you're setting up differently, there is that little bit of an adjustment period, and it seems that Albirex have been able to really exploit Hougang United's adjustment period in a big manner.
As you mentioned, they might be taking time to adjust to the new formation, but they will be disappointed that they conceded from a set piece there. This is one Plays it out from the back. It's now foul Azman, who's in for Keyshawn Phillip, who of course scored in the reverse fixture a couple of weeks ago. And here's now foul. Couldn't bring the ball under control. Lionel loses it to Nicky Melvin Singh, who goes for goal. Speculative effort. Using the run of Kondo, I believe, to create a bit of space for the shot. Disappointing effort in the end.
Yeah, but with Nicky Melvin Singh, what I've liked about him is, he's playing in that position, having to fill in for Seboy, who normally be that line leading striker for them. Nicky Melvin Singh, he's not going to give you the same level of quality, of course he isn't, but what he's done is he's worked incredibly hard in those positions. He's held the ball up well for Albirex whenever I've seen him play in those areas.
There's another youngster who's done very well for Albirex this season, Ong Yen, playing on that right side of midfield, ahead of Hashioka. Suzuka, searching ball, finds Kondo. Was up against Anders. He does well to hold him up. First time ball in from Ong Yen. There's Nazrul with the clearance. Doi does so well to bring it down and find Kaishi Yamazaki. There's Nazrul. Good ball down the right flank to Doi, who was looking for the run of Naufal Azman in the box.
Well, that's encouraging from Hougang perspective. Nice bit of play down this right-hand side, link up there. Direct ball into Doi, who initially held it up really well under pressure, and it was a difficult ball to deal with, but he kept control of it. It was a nice link up between himself and Nazrul. Just couldn't find the final pass into Naufal on that occasion.
Do you reckon that there's an over-reliance on Doi with Hougang, because he's got 16 goals?
Yes,
Cheetahs, and the next goal scorer is Idraki, who has 4. So not a lot of there's not a lot of sources of goals for Hougang.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's been Mr. Consistent, Tomoyuki Doi up front. It's not just 16 goals, it's the 5 assists as well. He's contributed 21 goals to Hougang's total of 33 this season. And that's an incredible contribution. I think it's something like 63.6%, which is by far the best in the SPL. So, I mean, it's a fair question to ask, but that's exactly why you bring in players like him, to make a difference. And here he is making a difference once again with a beautiful ball into Nazrul.
Nazrul finds himself in some space, waiting for options, plays it back to Doi, who can shoot them. Well, he had Koga scrambling. Looked like a simple enough shot, but Koga perhaps a bit put off with the bounce of the ball.
Yeah, just have a look at the way he kind of hits this, really. And you're absolutely right to point out the fact that he just bounces in front of Koga and he can't quite react to it. Or he does react enough to get it up and over the bar, but certainly a bounce that catches him by surprise. This is really much better from Hougang. Doi with fantastic involvement in those 4 positions very early on. Looks hungry to try and make something happen for them.
Yamazaki with another ball into the box. This is Afik Noor trying to hold up the ball, but Nicky Melvinson wins it back and wins his side a free kick. Albirex able to just bring the game into the pace that they're comfortable playing with.
It is that 5-4-1 at times for Hougang, and in these situations they will be aggressive with their pressing. Just got to keep a lookout for when that line of press does get broken. Make sure that the units, the defensive midfield and attacking units, are moving together. There's nice compactness in between the lines, something that they will have to take note of.
Nazrul Nazari here in your picture. Singapore international, who's playing a right wing back today. Nagasawa trying to wriggle his way out of that one. Nagasawa, not your typical out-and-out forward, as you mentioned before. Loves to get on the ball and beat players. Very exciting player to watch. Referee in the way that occasion, but Albirex still retained possession.
Yeah, no need for the drop ball there. I mean, they've kept the ball. It's a good decision just to keep the flow of the game going as it comes out to Tokiwa.
Maksad misses it. This is Nagasawa who scuffs his shot. An uncanny misjudgment from Maksad, who's had a very good season this year.
And just getting caught out a little bit by that movement of Nagasawa and behind, just drifting in off that left-hand side into a central position. And they have that flexibility to move into different areas as they see fit, trying to exploit spaces in between Hougang central defenders.
It's great to have fans back in the stadium, something that we've missed for about a year and a half now. As Nazrul takes this throw. Doi loses it in the middle of the pitch. And Albirex restart from the back with Koga. Well, you mentioned the press, and that's exactly what Hougang are trying to do. Tokiwa driven past to Kondo, who couldn't bring it down.
Yeah, they press there again in that situation. Again, looking to put Koga under pressure when the ball is played into him. But just once more, you just have a look at how Albirex had numbers around the ball, so they were able to play out from that pressure very quickly.
Kaishi Yamazaki with a foul. Yamazaki spent 2 seasons with Albirex before moving to Home United, who are now Lion City Sailors. And he played in defense for the Sailors last season, but has been an integral part of Hougan's midfield this year. Kondo getting very involved in play early on. It's Hashioka. Trying to get the corner there. Assistant referee points for a goal kick instead.
Yeah, really big outlets for them on either side. On the left-hand side, it's Tokiwa. The right-hand side, it's Hashioka with his directness, his pace, and that ability to accelerate away from defenders.
It's a great ball in. Doi is onside. Takes his time. Picks his spot. And that's marginally wide. I'm not sure that got a deflection. Yes, the referee says there was a deflection. Doi showing great patience and finesse to try and find the bottom right of the goal there.
Such an intelligent ball played in behind by Farhan Zulkifli, and an intelligent run as well from Tomoyuki Doi. Just wants to get it onto his right foot, and as he does that, he gives Albirex just a bit of time to get the defenders back into position to provide a block.
Ball goes out to Nazrul. Another disappointing corner from Kaishi Yamazaki. Down this right-hand side. Nicky Melvin Singh with a good challenge. But that's the thing about Doi. You give him half a chance, and he's going to create problems for the opposition there.
Well, he has looked really lively in this game so far. As I said, he's looking really hungry to try and make something happen. I think he knows that, look, he's got his own personal targets of wanting to play at a higher standard, at a higher level, and wanting to end the season as a top scorer and helping his side along the way.
Well, that's well, the fears of the referee giving a penalty there, but no. He's blown for the foul by Doi, who is pleading his innocence.
Nice flick into the box there by Kaishu Yamazaki. I think it was just that raised elbow onto the side of Ong Yuen's face there that the referee really had a bit of an issue with. Decided to have a a word with Tomoyuki Doi. And I was just talking to Idraki. Unfortunately, he's out for the rest of the season with an ACL injury. Just talking to Idraki about his goals this season that he scored. And that was something that he was looking to try and improve on. And he mentioned that he works a lot with Tomoyuki Doi, who's often doing extra training, always after training, looking to do finishing, looking to improve on whatever areas of weaknesses that he can.
Draki has mentioned that before, and fun fact for you, Doi stays back 2 hours after training every day in the morning with a bag of balls just to work on his finishing. And you can see how that has affected his game because he's so deadly.
It's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, and it's... Well, we just see Naufal. I thought he lost possession of it, but he was just put under too much pressure from Chiku. Just a bit too physical in that situation. Referee blowing for the free kick. Albirex with a bit of space on this right-hand side.
It's Ong Ian looking for options.
But yeah, just go back to a bit of a lull here and go back to praising Tomoyuki Doi because he's been in incredible form, and it's just a sign of, you know, you put in the work and you reap your rewards.
It's Hashioka. He has options in the box. Goes out to Nagasawa, who's unable to keep it in. Albirex with the corner though.
Yeah, I think it just took a bit of a deflection of Farhan as the ball was played in by Hashioka. Just looked to play in, Nagasawa in behind Farhan there.
The fans chanting for a goal. As we see the stats, this is the third Albirex corner. The first one, of course, leading to the opening goal. Ball comes in. Well, it's, I believe, Yamashita who wins the header. Not for the first time, proving to be a threat in the set-piece situations. He scored last week here against Tanjong Pagar from a set-piece as well.
Yeah, got the equalizer in that one, and he was a big pain as well for Lion City Sailors earlier in the season.
Albirex pressing Hougang in their own half. Looking to force the opponents to make a mistake. Lionel Tan with a good pass to Naufal Azman. Finds Doi. Doi does well to skip past two players. The referee blows for the foul. Perhaps could have played advantage because it looked like Doi still had possession of the ball.
I just think he was shoved off balance a little bit perhaps there, but a wonderful quick feet by Tomoyuki Doi in a deeper area here. But that pass from Lionel Tan was exquisite, wasn't it? Just breaking the lines with a pass from a central defensive position as Doi works his way down his left-hand side.
Space in the box. Goes for goal. It's Lionel Tan up there. Koga goes down under the challenge. Well, Doi's been all over the pitch here, at least in the Albirex half.
Yeah, he's popped up in a deeper position in midfield there just to link up at times. He's shown up down his right-hand side, and there, just on that occasion, on the left, he can try and push himself into the box. That was Lionel with a clear foul. Late challenge on Koga.
Lionel wins the header, finds Afik Noor. Hougang do have some very exciting young talent in the squad. Wonderful is Fazil Gilfley as well, who's played as a left back, but he's a left winger. Has done well to adapt to the position.
Yeah, he's done really well. He's gotten lots and lots of game time, which is really help and aid in his development. So I said in the build-up to this, in the show, just before this game, he's a player that I'm really quite a fan of. A player with a big potential and a bright future.
Yeah, he's on the ball right now. Nafal Hasman in support. Up against Ong Yin, the two youngsters squaring off with Albirex, who win the ball back. Poor pass out to Nazrul. Kaishu Yamazaki goes for goal. Well, Koga was caught in two minds there.
Well, that would have been interesting because I think Nazrul was just running across his line of sight here. Just have a look at that situation there as Nazrul intercepts that pass, plays it into Kaishu. Again, it's a bobbling ball. Shot at goal. I wonder if it had ended up in the back of the net, whether the flag would have actually gone up in that situation.
For interfering play.
Yeah. So Nazrul just running across the goalkeeper's line of sight as the shot came in.
Both wingbacks from Hougang are very eager to get forward. As we see at the other end of the pitch, is Nagasawa up against Nazrul, who has to perform his defensive duties. Ball in by Takiwa. But Yamazaki does well to keep it in. Takiwa trying to toe poke the ball. Well, it does eventually find its way out to Nagasawa. And that's Maksat with a crunching late challenge. He knew that he was beaten on that occasion. Just got back from suspension and he's picked up a yellow within the first 25 minutes of the game.
Well, if you know Maksat, if you've been watching him all season, you'll know that's quite a typical Maksat sort of challenge. I mean, look, it's a poor one. Generally tends to get the ball, but he's well late there, and I don't think you can have too many complaints about picking up the caution in there.
I tell you what, when he does get the ball, it really gives the team a boost.
Yeah, and he tends to take the ball and the opposition player as well.
It's a 1-for-1 offer with his tackles. With Albirex. We have Tezuka on this free kick. You can see the Albirex players in the box. Ball comes in. Yamazaki manages to get it away. That's Maksat with the block. Doi has no idea where the ball is. But Hougang do clear the lines. Albirex happy to slow the game down. Good ball out to the left flank, and Nazrul does well to recover. Takiwa sends the ball in. This one manages to punch it out as we see Hougang come away with it. Not for long though. Albirex. Oh, this Hougang again retained possession. Foul on Yamazaki. Albirex haven't been the sharpest with their passing.
You know what? That's a little bit naughty from Takiwa, you know, because actually off your picture here, well, the venue, you get a wider angle, and Doi had actually made a nice little run just off the shoulder of Yamashita into a bit of space, and that's where Yamazaki was looking to try and hit that diagonal in behind that Albirex defense. Fortunately, wasn't quite able to execute. After being fouled by Tokiwa, who knew exactly what he was doing.
Lionel Tan puts it out for a throw. Nicky Melvin Singh there doing very well to put the Hougang skipper under pressure. Well, it's been all Albirex in terms of possession, but Hougang have managed to have a good chance or two. There's Kondo Twisting and turning, trying to find some space. Great reverse pass there. That was Nagasawa who had space to take a shot. In the end, it was a simple enough save for his one.
That was wonderful. Wonderful by Kondo. That close control in such a tight space. He had like 2 or 3 Hougang defenders around him in that situation. Yes, he was forced away from the penalty area. But still at the presence of mind to spin around and find that reverse pass into the box, into Nagasawa. Just couldn't quite make the connection that he would have liked in that situation. Freedom of that movement from Kondo, once again causing a few issues here. He is just dropping into midfield to provide that link.
Well, Nazrul making life a little bit difficult for his keeper. Assistant coach Firdaus Qasim not too pleased. Unnecessary pressure for the Cheetahs. As the referee blows for the mandatory water break. We just saw Izwan in your shot. He managed to keep his first clean sheet since coming back to the Singapore Premier League last week against the Young Lions.
Well, it's been an interesting game of football, hasn't it? I mean, Albirex getting off to a fantastic start. A goal very early on with Kunimoto flicking on that corner that was delivered in by Tezuka. And then nice response. A nice response by Hougang initially. We were just a bit concerned that the game might have just run away from them as Tezuka
Ball
puts
comes into the near post, and that's the opening goal there.
Ahead of his marker there.
Well,
there will be questions asked. I mean, you look at that in that situation, the way he's able to just get ahead of his marker with that free run towards the near post. And is it Nazrul that was tasked to pick him up, which is or was it Kaishu Yamazaki in that situation?
in fact, there were 2 Albirex players who got a free run in.
If it was Nazrul, then it's a bit of a strange matchup there. He's giving quite a bit away in terms of the height difference.
As we restart play with the throw-in for Albirex Niigata.
Actually, if you can just come across in those areas, if you're tight, you're marking tightly, and you just block off a run, you sometimes don't even need to make a challenge for the ball. You just need to be smart about where you position your body.
But is there a risk of giving away a penalty, especially when...
Yeah, you got to be smart about it, you know, and a referee's got a lot to look at. How often do you see in matches players getting tugged and pulled down in situations? And there's no VAR in the league, so you know he's not going to be able to pick out everything. So again, this is where a little bit of gamesmanship comes in, and I know because I never really liked heading the ball, so I'd find a way to try and, but I'd still do my job in terms of marking up. And of course, if a ball came in, I'd hit it away. But you can be clever at times in terms of just putting your body on the line.
It's a great ball into Doi, who mistimes his shot. Can't tell if he's gone down injured or in frustration. I think looks like he took a knock. Great ball in by Yamazaki. Koga just clatters into him. Well, Doi has looked lively. As you mentioned, Roshan, with those off-the-ball runs, then it's Kaishu Yamazaki with the ability to pick him out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, again, almost a situation for Hougang there where they could have found the equalizer. Unfortunately, just running away from Doi. There's that contact between him and Koga. But again, just going back to that corner again. Look, there are ways around it. There are ways to make it look like you're actually genuinely looking to challenge for the ball, and then what you do is you come across in a bit of a shoulder barge, or you run across the opposition player's line of his movement. But anyway, let's move on from that. Just suggestions, of course.
Ball goes out to Nazrul. Who gives it away rather easily. And perhaps a hint of frustration with that late challenge on Tokiwa. He receives a yellow. Well, he's not happy with something. think it's something one of the Albirex players said. So we see the challenge again.
Yeah, I mean, he's very late to that. Nazrul is going in from behind, and there have been a couple of challenges like that. We saw Maksat with the yellow earlier on, and I think Maksat's going to have to be careful as well here, because what he actually did after the referee had blown the whistle is he actually kicked the ball into Tokiwa. He's already on a yellow card, so he's going to have to be very careful.
Well, the referee is pulling him over. He's reaching out to his pocket. Oh, no, he's...
Listen, I'm glad he's applied some common sense here. He just needs to have a word and just say, look, don't do that again. You're already on a yellow. I'm well aware of what's going on. It's good refereeing. I was hoping he wouldn't overreact and pull out a second yellow there and send Maksat off. Credit to the referee for keeping a cool head and just using some common sense in that situation.
Half an hour gone here at the Jurong East Stadium. And it's Albirex who lead proceedings, thanks to an early goal from Kunimoto. And the home side are in possession. Maksat trying to play it out from the back. Well, he wins it back, but it's Albirex who retain possession. This is Nicky Melvin Singh who goes for goal. A tame effort. Maksat has shown that he's not afraid to play out from the back, bring the ball forward. It almost backfired on that occasion, though.
Yeah, not the most graceful of players on the ball, Maksat. And again, he just gets caught out there. Albirex applying that pressure in that situation, creating an opportunity out of it. So there's another turnover in possession here as Izwan just knocked this one out of play.
Maksat has gone down, holding his knee. I think it's after the challenge earlier on Nagasawa.
Yeah, I just wonder if he's feeling his knee a little bit in that situation. Saw him putting in a couple of challenges there. It's looking like on the inside of his knee there. Here's another look at that. He just tries to turn away from Nagasawa's pressure. Perhaps overextended himself in that moment. I wonder if just tweaked the ligament or something. Probably there when he slid down.
Well, he straight away felt that. Hougang don't have much in terms of defensive options on the bench. So that means if he does have to come off, they might have to change their shape. Kondo again coming very deep. Ball goes out to Ong Yen. Up against Fan Zulkifli, who does very well. Hougang boxed in their own half. Ong Yen perhaps a little over eager to win the ball back.
It's gone into a bit of a lull at the moment in terms of the motion of the game, the rhythm of the game, just since that cooling break.
Albirex now come forward with Nagasawa. Goes Ong Yen to his right. Ashioka and Ong Yen have combined well here. And there's Fan Zulkifli with the challenge. No foul, says the referee. He points for the corner instead.
Well, I'm pretty sure he would have communicated with his assistant referee on the far side there just to see if he had spotted anything with that challenge. Wonderful work by UN. Just quick feet just to get it away from Farhan. Let's have another look at that. Oh,
That looks like a foul to me.
Looked like a foul to me as well. I think it was outside the box.
Yeah, outside the box
Would
for
have been
sure.
a free
Yeah.
kick outside the box anyway.
Suzuka. Whips one in. Nope, he doesn't. Short corner routine here. Nagasawa, disappointing cross in the end. Albirex trying to change things up from the corner kick, from the corner routine.
Yeah, just trying to vary it up a little bit. Just trying to change the angle of the delivery there. That shot ball into Nagasawa. Standing on the corner of the box.
So we see Maksat gingerly make his way back onto the pitch. And here he is on the ball, 21 years old. Maksat to another youngster, Josiah.
Yeah, the technique on the passing here has got to be very good. Again, you see just Josiah there. Yes, what he does well in that situation, as they're trying to play out from the back, is because he's one of the two central midfielders responsible for helping with the build-up of play. He does give a good passing angle. He's looking for that switch out into an area where there's no pressure, away to Anders. But the technique on the pass, you know, it bobbles its way. It's not a good pass.
There's one. So lucky because Kondo slipped in the box. Well, they should have made them pay there.
No, just talking about passes, technical passes not being right and passes not being good, and is one that almost made a huge mistake.
Well, Kaishu Yamazaki's passing has been on point today.
Yeah, here's another look at that one. I mean, thankfully for him, just too casual with that pass out into Anders. Kurawa Kondo losing his footing. And get away with one there, Hougang.
Kanimoto loses it. Isaiah on the ball. Does so well against two players. It's a good ball in. Koga had to react. Coming off his line to clear that ball. It's Nafa Azman and Joy who were attacking it.
That was wonderful work by Josiah in central midfield there. His passing options had been cut out. There were two players in front of him blocking off his angles. Decided to just take it on himself and just cut through and broke that press. And almost picked out a beautiful pass in behind as well. Good work by the young man.
Nazrul trying to find Yamazaki. Nicky Melvin Singh with a good turn. Maksat is struggling here. And Nicky Melvin Singh realizes that, sprints past him. It's up against Lionel Tan. Finds Kondo. Kondo goes for goal. The shot not threatening as one in the end, but more pressingly for Hougang. Maksat has gone down. He has his thigh strapped up as well as his knee, but doesn't look like he can continue here.
Yeah, listen, it must be a serious injury for Maksat. As we just see Nicky Singh playing on, rightly so. He should play on, should play to the whistle and should carry on with the game. Referee's right there. If he decides that there needs to be a stoppage in play, he can go on and blow his whistle and stop play. You feel sorry for Maksat because he's a player that I've enjoyed watching this season. I hope it's not something too serious. There's lots of thinking that you've got to do on the bench now because, as you mentioned, the defensive options that they've got here, Mohaimin and Hafiz Abu Sujat, a couple of players that can come on and do a job in those defensive positions. Do they stick with that back five? Do they go back to what they know and just try and reshuffle it a little bit?
Again, Hougang pressing really well. Well, Anders has received a yellow card here for, I think it's an off-the-ball incident where he appeared to stamp on Ong Yen.
Well, that's 3 of the back 5 now that they've all... well, Maksat's gone off, so 2 of the back 4 now. What was that? Oh, just a bit of a kick out there. And you just see Kaishu actually encouraging his teammates to just calm down, calm it down. That frustration creeping into their game.
Confirmation of And this is a yellow card.
I mean, he's saying he didn't do anything. Referee is adamant that he saw what had happened.
So we head into the final 5 minutes of the first half, which started off with a bang, but has kind of fizzled out.
Fabian Kwok looks like potentially could be the one coming on.
Fabian has played in central defense for
he
Hougang
has,
under
yep.
Klebbert before. And confirmation that he is making an appearance here today in place of the injured Maksat. Well, it looks like they're reverting to a back four for now. Oh no, they're staying with the five, I think.
Yeah, it just looks like a back four at the moment because they've essentially, what they've done is they told Fabian for the moment, just make sure you keep an eye out on Kondo. And as Kondo drops off that forward line into those midfield positions, in behind Hougang's midfield there, they just want to make sure Fabian keeps up with him. And then now he drops back into the defensive line.
I tell you what, it must be so frustrating to mark someone like Kondo, because you will not know how far do you follow him, because if he drops deep, he drops in so many different positions.
Well, that's the thing, you know, you can go man for man, but I don't know of too many teams that really do that these days, and it's not really economical. Get that word out of my mouth. You mark zones, and then if you do mark in those zones, make sure the spaces in between your lines are compact, and making sure you're communicating to your teammates that he's there on your left shoulder, on your right shoulder. You know, where's he dropping off in those areas?
Fan Zulkifli gives it away in a dangerous position. Now Doi, good turn, but unable to keep the ball under his control.
You mentioned Kondo and his movement. Ultimately, it comes down as well to just a situation where players are aware of their surroundings. And if they see, you know, there's an orange shirt here in my area, and I'm free, I'm available, I can go out and apply that pressure, then sometimes they need to apply that little bit of decision-making themselves.
Tezuka. Ball goes out to Hashioka. Couldn't find Hong Yin on that occasion, but he does pick it up. Chiku. Kondo trying to play the ball behind. This Afignor releases Naufal. Afignor trying to orchestrate play here for Hougang. As we see Fabian playing on the right side of defense.
Oh, he was smart there, Nazrul, just to feel that contact from Tokiwa and go down. Asked for the free kick and he got it.
Farhan plays it back to Anders. They go route one here looking for Nazrul. Well, the throw is given to Hougang. Looked like it came off an Albirex player.
Well, he's got a good leap to him, Nazrul. I've seen on a couple of occasions when he does have a bit of a running start, he can get up and win those balls in the air.
Poor ball from Afik. And Izwan is first to react to that long ball. For Hougang, there's not much attacking options on the bench as well. Shawal Anwar missing this game through a neck injury. Shawal has not had great luck with injuries in the last few seasons.
Yeah, he's another player who's got plenty of talent. Lots of wonderful attributes in his skill set. But as you mentioned, it's just been a little bit unlucky at times with those injuries.
As the referee indicates, sorry, the fourth official indicates 2 minutes of added time. Can Albirex double the lead at the death? It's right at the stroke of half time here.
2 minutes of added time to play. 2 minutes.
Takiwa. Pull ball in. Albirex still have the ball. Nicky Melvin Singh with a good touch. But Lionel aware of the danger. Kondo. To Tezuka. Takiwa exchanging passes with Chiku. And that leaves Tezuka in space. Patient play here from Albirex, just looking for that opening. Fabian does well and earns his side a free kick just to ease the pressure off of his defense as we inch closer to half-time.
Yeah, there was just a little bit of danger early on, and again, just before the cooling break, where Hougang, looked to provide a response to going a goal behind, and Tomoyuki Doi was looking very lively in those forward positions. So a couple of balls played in behind the defense for him to go and work with, and he was linking play very well for Hougang. Skoga gets closed down by Doi once more.
Doi leaving his foot in.
But just since that cooling break, the tempo just seems to have gone out of Hougang's game a little bit in this first half, and it's something to look to try and find a response with in the second half here.
That foul, the last piece of action here in the first half. Doi still having a word with referee Ahmad Akasha, as we have confirmation here in the Jurong East Stadium. Ryo Kurimoto's second-minute goal, the difference between the two sides. It's Albirex Niigata 1, Hougang United 0 at the break.
Thanks so much for staying with us. If you have just joined us, we are live at the Jurong East Stadium for this Singapore Premier League match between Albirex and Niigata and Hougang United. The score at halftime is Albirex 1, Hougang United 0. It's been an entertaining first half. Roshan, you were doing commentary. We had chances at both ends. A few periods of lull, but overall, rather entertaining.
Yeah, pretty interesting game in the sense that, Albirex started off incredibly well. Kunimoto getting them off to a fantastic start very early on. Just flicked on here that the quality delivered by Tezuka on that set piece. Just gets a run ahead of his marker there. And just a bit sharper. Hougang still a little bit going to sleep. I think it's Nazrul that's actually given the job of marking Kunimoto. Already there's that difference in that high. And I know we've seen Nazrul with his ability to make quite good attempts at challenging for headers. But if he doesn't get a run up like that, he's not going to be able to put a challenge in. And then we see, I think it was Kondo with an attempt at goal just going away. And Hougang, to their credit, provided a really good response. Tomoyuki Doi was at the heart of it, trying to create something for them, trying to make things happen. Here he was initially just linking up with Nazrul. He played a beautiful pass in behind Albrex's midfield for Nazrul, gets it back. And then that shot, just not enough to really trouble Koga. And then here, getting in behind that Albirex defense once again. Beautiful pass played into him by Farhan Zulkifli. But just getting those defenders in the way and blocking his attempt at goal. And then Kaishu Yamazaki there with a shot. Just bobbles all the way through. So I don't think they really troubled that Albirex defense too much, especially after that water break. The tempo of the game seemed to just drop off a little bit for Hougang. Wonderful work by Kuraba Kondo here. I mean, just have a look at his footwork, taking defenders on, and then picking out this beautiful reverse pass into Nagasawa. But again, easy enough save for Izwan to really make.
Yeah, speaking of Izwan, there was a moment there during that first half where he laid off a missed kick that was intercepted by Albirex. I mean, this is only his fourth game with Hougang since returning from Thailand and rejoining the Singapore Premier League. Do you think it takes a little bit of time, a little bit of readjustment for someone coming in from a different league back to Singapore?
I think there is, in the sense that there's a little bit of work to be done in terms of the relationship between the goalkeeper and the defender. We just have a look at the stats there, and when you have a look at the numbers, 8 shots to 4, you can see that Albirex are in control. And again, with their overall play, they've been in control of this game so far, at least in the first half. But coming back to your question, yeah, as I said, there is going to be a moment where they have to try and build that relationship. So it is going to take a little bit of time. And he hasn't had that much game time recently in Thailand. So that's also going to be a bit of an issue in terms of that sharpness, that match sharpness in those situations as well.
So a little bit of work for Hougang United to do in the second half. And for Clement Teo, their manager, their coach, he's inside the dressing room. What will the message be for his boys?
I think the message has to be the fact that, first of all, I think tactically they're going to have to keep an eye out on Kondo and his movements off that forward line, in behind Hougang's midfield. And whoever is responsible in those areas, if you're free, you've got to make sure that if he pops up in your space, you're going to close him down in those areas. Or you're guiding your teammate, you're communicating to them that close down this passing angle, he's on your left, he's on your right, things like that. So improve the communication in those situations and improve their play with the ball, because some of the technique on the passing has been a little bit sloppy in certain areas. So those are a couple of things that they will look to try and address in the second half.
And of course they had Maxat going off as well. Did that require a bit of a change for Hougang?
Well, a bit of a change, of course, in personnel in terms of Fabian coming in and dropping into that back 5, into that back 3, I should say. But with Maksat, I think with that yellow card as well and then picking up an injury, you hope that the injury isn't too serious.
Yeah.
But there's always a danger that he was actually going to pick up a second yellow as well. So making that change sort of helped them out a little bit in those defensive areas.
So Hougang United trailing Albirex Niigata 1-0, but there were some promising signs by the Cheetahs in that first half. Can they convert their chances and get back into this game? We'll be back with the second half right after this break.
Welcome back to the Jurong East Stadium as we await the second half of this clash between league leaders Albirex Niigata and title contenders Hougang United. It's confirmation of the halftime score. Albirex Niigata leading 1-0 courtesy of a Ryo Kunimoto goal from a very early corner kick. And that's been the main highlight of this first half. A game which started off so brightly, fizzling out towards the halftime whistle. As we see some of the Hougang players step out onto the pitch, it'll be interesting to see the substitutions that Clementio might possibly make. As we mentioned earlier, not a lot in terms of attacking options, likes of Shawal Anwar, Khairul Nizam, Sharul Ishaq, all not in the matchday squad. As we see Kaishu Yamazaki along with Fabian Kwok, who takes over the armband from Lionel Tan after coming on for Maksat Zakir Biliev, who had to go off injured midway through that first half. Kaishu Yamazaki proving to be a very important player for Clementio. As I mentioned earlier, he played as a centre-back for the Sailors last season, but has excelled in midfield for the Cheetahs. And they have their work cut out for them in the second half as they try to reduce the deficit at the top of the league to 2 points. That's if they win, if they can overturn the 1-goal advantage that Albirex hold right now. Albirex still not out of their dressing room. They've seemed very patient so far in the first half. Happy to just keep the ball and wait for opportunities to present itself. It's Hougang on your screen there with the team huddle. Doi in the middle of that, and he's been in the middle of all of Hougang's attacks as well. As he picks up the ball from Amar Akasha, our referee for today. Hashioka and Nagasawa on your screens. Hashioka has played every minute of every game this season. It's 14 games in the Singapore Premier League. And that's even more impressive considering his style of play, where he's just running up and down that right flank. Albirex in no rush here to get the second half underway. Roshan, as you mentioned earlier, you spoke about Hougang needing to communicate more, communicate better as well. What have you been impressed by in the first half from the Cheetahs?
Well, I think their reaction to going a goal down was very good. I think Doi, as we saw, was trying to make things happen. They weren't able to create very dangerous opportunities. There were shots from outside the box. There was a situation where Doi had gotten in behind once and had his shot deflected out away from goal. But after sort of that cooling break, that water break, the intensity and the tempo of the game just seemed to drop off a little bit. And I'm wondering as well, as I just look at their setup here at the start of the second half, whether they've gone with a change in shape as well, whether they've moved it back into a system of 4 at the back. They've pushed Fabian into central midfield, and perhaps there'll be something that one, they'll be a bit more familiar with, but two, that allows them to push Kaishu Yamazaki into central midfield as well to help build up when they are in possession of the ball and build attacks for them.
It's Nagasawa, sorry, Kondo, where she turned earlier with the ball. But a referee blows for a free kick for Hougang.
It does look like, you just see that free kick there, it does look like Kaishu Yamazaki has been moved into more of a central role in that first half. He was playing on that right-hand side of that midfield 4. It was a 5-4-1. guess they're just lacking a little bit of cohesion overall. So well, let's see what they can do here. I mean, now that Yamazaki is hopefully going to be involved in the game a little bit more, as pass is given away, and it's Albirex in attack once again.
It's Nagasawa. All the way to Kiwa. Trying to find Takiwa in the box, but Hougang come away with it. Not for long though. Josiah winning a foul for Hougang. Winning the free kick rather for Hougang. Albirex players a bit perplexed with that decision. As we see Fabian Kwok pick up the ball deep. Great turn from Tezuka. Aware of the pressure from Yamazaki.
Yeah, it was a beautiful turn. Just away from pressure by Tezuka, wasn't it? In that situation. As Nazrul tries to inject a bit of pace into the game now.
Well, he still has it. Nazrul Nazari. Yamashita going right through Nazrul on that occasion. Hougang trying to play the quick free kick, but the referee brings it back. Nazrul, who started off as a winger in his younger days, then converted into a wing back for both club and country. Ball outright to Josiah, who tried to get the ball in first time. Poor cross in the end, easily collected by Koga.
And we just moved Josiah out into that right-hand side now. In first half, he was playing in the middle of the park. They moved him out to the right. It's looking like at times in certain situations it's a 4-2-3-1 now. Naufal Azman playing off this left-hand side. Yamazaki just in behind Tomoyuki Doi. And Josiah on that right. With Afik and Fabian and just in central midfield.
Well, the only recognized attacking player on the Hougang bench is Shafiq Ghani. He's become some sort of a forgotten man of sorts. Missing large parts the last 2 or 3 seasons due to injury and form as well. Doi does well to spread play out to Fahan Zulkifli on this near side. Here's Afik, no in space. Again, Doi. Central to all of Hougang's action here. It was Naufal Azman who had made that run into the box. Well cut out by Kunimoto, the goal scorer. Encouraging passage of play for Hougang. As we see Fahan with the throw.
It was encouraging from Hougang in that situation, wasn't it? Just the way they were able to pass it through there. First real good passing move we've seen from them in this second half.
Fahan beats UN. Puts in a good ball. It's Nazrul here in the box. Well, he's asking for handball. They all are protesting for handball. Amarakasha waves the protests away. I think it was Chiku.
Well, they're
no,
convinced.
it's Tokiwa, actually.
Nazrul, it was Tokiwa. Oh, look, his arm was out away from his body. I'll be honest, I can't see if it's hit his chest from that angle. The person who's actually got a really good line of sight is the assistant referee on that far side. And he'll be able to tell if it hit his arm or if it hit his chest. Shafiq Ghani is coming on for Josiah Poa.
Corner comes in for Hougang. A waste of a corner as it goes out. Goal kick to Albirex. Very interesting to see where Shafiq Ghani slots in to this Hougang side. Looks to be on his right. He's a left-footed player, of course, and that's a decent ball in. Ewan looking for Nicky Melvin Singh. Perhaps a tad bit too hard with the pass. A good idea from the youngster. Ball comes in, easily dealt with by Anders. Shafiq Ghani is on the right side. And we see Kaishu as well push up. The more attacking position. This is Nazrul trying to win it back.
That's a beautiful pass played into Tokiwa by Chiku. Just unfortunate for Tokiwa. He couldn't quite take the first touch out in front of him.
Says Tokiwa. Well, we see the link-up play between Tokiwa, Nagasawa and Kondo. This is Nagasawa. Skips past his man with ease. You could see what he was trying to do. Trying to bend it past this one. Just couldn't open up his body. But that's what Nagasawa can do.
Wonderful work by Nagasawa. Again, just his acceleration away from his marker. And the way they move the ball so well in those triangles very quickly. 1 and 2 touch play. Just opening up that Hougang defense on that occasion. Just looking to try and toe poke it towards the far post perhaps there. This one was well positioned. Just deny that opportunity. Looking to quickly restart it and get Hougang off on a counter attack, but the distribution wasn't good enough.
Anders loses out to Nicky Melvin Singh. But he does just about enough to put the Albirex player off on that occasion as he's protesting for a corner, but the ref gives it as a goal kick.
He's done very well there, Nicky Singh. But he could have done better in that situation by playing in Kondo instead of taking it on his own. Just a bit of a work on the awareness being need to be done there because Kondo was in acres of space just on his left-hand side. If he had just actually played him in, Kondo would have been in on goal.
Final time. No options to play it forward. This is Afiq Noor. Confident enough to turn and spread play. Finding Shafiq Ghani on the far side. Oh, but he loses it too cheaply and gives away a foul. Unnecessarily there.
Yeah, again, it's just another disruption and a breakup in the tempo of this game.
Well, it's been that sort of a game, hasn't it, Roshan?
It has, it has. It's been a little bit frustrating at times, I think, if you're neutral here. And Albirex have had moments of fantastic quality, which has been good to watch. And also at times, just with maybe fouls here and there, the rhythm of the game just get disrupted. It's not really been that flowing. And I have to say, Hougang, for the most part, haven't really been in the game. Haven't really created anything of note. There's still plenty of time to go here.
Effort from range, easily dealt with by Izwan. Fahan Zulkifli comes away with it. Poor pass to Hashioka. So still going. Lionel Tan with little choice but to put it out for a throw. And here's the Albirex skipper again. Kondo releasing Hashioka down the right flank. Didn't measure his pass though.
We've got fans in the stands who have been making themselves heard. We've got the Hougang Hools as well on the far side of the pitch, just outside the ground. I mean, lots of people sitting around and watching the match as well.
It's good to see the fans back in the stadiums. There are, of course, some criteria for them to gain admission to these SPL matches.
Just the Hougang Hools, who are doing really well to make themselves heard. Just the flag getting caught on a bit of a barbed wire for the moment. Thankfully, they've been able to just unhook it.
It's Kondo. Smart turn. But Nazrul has done well today, Nazrul.
He's been very lively down the right-hand side, both in attack and on the defensive front as well. He's gotten himself back in those situations.
Fahan.
Can't quite, at the moment, just find the right sort of angles to progress the ball forward. So Lionel has space to bring it through now. Which is good to see. It's an intelligent ball out wide as well, if you can keep it in play. Shafiq.
Shafiq, who will look to cut onto his favorite left foot there. Fabian finds Doi. Yamashita with that clearance.
That was good work initially by Lionel, you know. I mean, he sees his options just closed off ahead of him. As I said, couldn't find the right sort of angles to progress the ball. But if he's not under pressure, then he's got that invitation to just step forward with the ball, which he did really well there before applying that switch of play.
This Kondo trying to take on Anders, who concedes the corner kick. Kondo and Nagasawa so quick with the ball. As Tezuka heads over to the far side to take this corner kick.
I think it's going to be a change here for Albirex as well. Looking like it could be Ong Yuen just being replaced by Mahiro Takahashi, who is one of their usual changes, one of the changes that they usually make.
Kondo with a good touch out to Ong Yen. Couldn't get a shot away. Not as clean as he would have liked it. Well, that's the thing about Albirex, Roshan. They are a very predictable side in terms of personnel and who gets involved.
Yeah, but you say that, and saying that predictability in terms of the lineups, you know who's going to be involved. You know who the key players are. You know, for example, Tezuka and Chiku are going to drive the game for them from midfield, dictate the tempo of play for them from midfield. You know Nagasawa, you know Kondo are going to be the players to look out for. And you could have a plan in place, but stopping them is a completely different matter. And Albirex as well, from what I've seen of them, in terms of the overall play, it isn't actually predictable in terms of how they change it at times, in terms of their patterns in possession of the ball.
And we're going to see that substitution that you alluded to earlier, Roshan, as Mahiro Takahashi comes on for Ong Yen. So Ong Yuen is a strong contender for Young Player of the Year for sure. He's put in some very, very good performances.
I'm just laughing, listening in, and enjoying the chants coming from the Hougang Wolves.
They are a lively bunch.
They certainly are. They certainly are. And You know, we need the fans coming back in, don't we? And we need them to add their voice to these matches, to the occasion.
See Lionel Tan urging his team to get forward. So he looks to play, he looks to find attacking players. Fabian does well though. Smart play from the captain.
Yeah, he almost has to, Lionel, he almost has to take responsibility for Houang's build-up from the back. He almost has to be sort of a playmaker at times. Because again, they're really struggling to get on the ball in those central midfield positions and build through. Because of the way Albirex are setting themselves up, sure, as an invitation, as I said, for Lionel to push on and step forward. But again, as you saw there, as he was moving forward with the ball, he's demanding options from his teammates. Not quite getting those options available to him.
But is that down to the fact that they've pushed Kashi Yamazaki up?
Well, if they pushed him into those central positions, then you're thinking they want him to get more involved in those central areas, because he wasn't that involved in the first half out on that right-hand side. But they still aren't able to progress it into him, into those situations. Unless, of course, your suggestion is to drop Kaishu Yamazaki deeper into midfield.
Because looking at the profile of the central midfielders they have, he's one of those who can receive the ball on the turn, which I think they're currently struggling with, especially with players like Fabian, where that's not his strongest suit.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, the profile of players, it matters.
And we're going to see another substitution here. I believe it's Firoz Hassan, who's coming on against his former club, the 32-year-old, in place of Nicky Melvin Singh, who has to be stretched off. Firoz Hassan, of course, you can see as a stalwart in the local league. Spent 4 years at Hougang. He's had injury issues the last 2 years with Albirex. Good to see him back in action. Well, Doyle asking too much of Afigno on that occasion.
Yeah, Nicky Melvin Singh, he didn't look in good shape going off there, having to be stretchered off.
Good touch from Firoz. Ball goes out to Hashioka. Up against Fahan Zulkifli, who does very well. And comes away with it cleanly as well. But he's halted by Chiku. Great ball in. And that's a fantastic save by Iswan on that occasion. I believe it's Kondo who found some space in the box. Hougang seemed to have switched off at the back.
Well, they just slice right through. Again, it's Kondo just causing all these issues. Just dropping off that forward line and opening up those angles to be that link man. And on this occasion, receives it from Chiku, plays it out, gets it back, and you want him in that situation just striking across the ball in towards that far post instead of straight down Iswan's throat there. But it's good, quick, swift movement by Albirex again.
Ball comes in from the corner, dealt with by Anders. So we see Nagasawa. That burst of pace, even over 3 or 4 steps, really quick.
It's that explosiveness and that short acceleration that you need, really, that's key, it's crucial. And if you're a young player out there, it's something that should be drilled into you. You know, if you've performed the skill, let's say you've done a step over or a drop off the shoulder, it's then that next little bit, that acceleration, that explosiveness that takes you away from the defender that's crucial. Can you change the tempo of your play?
So we see Fahan and Nazrul swap flanks here. This one, poor pass. Interesting decision to swap the 2 wing backs. Albirex finding some space down the left flank. Goes out to Tokiwa. He's caught in an offside position. The trio of Tokiwa, Kondo and Nagasawa linking up really well.
Yeah,
Clear offside.
straight offside, didn't he? I mean, he wasn't looking across the line at all. Just looking at the ball. Didn't really have an idea of where that defensive line was. It's quite an easy decision for the assistant referee on this side to make.
Faraz Hassan does well to close Lionel down.
Well, again, you're noticing a trend here, right? Every time Lionel gets it, is that invitation to push on forward, but he doesn't have those options in front of him to play it into.
Takahashi unable to find an orange shirt. So you see a change in possession again. Afik now looking for it again, as you mentioned, Roshan. There are no clear options for them to play that forward pass. Intelligent play from Afik just to win a free kick to slow things down. So you see Doi with off the ball run, intelligent run there. But Koga was quick to the danger.
It was Farhan as well, again with some wonderful work, just cutting inside onto his left foot just to play that pass in behind for Doi. On that occasion, just had a bit too much on that attempted pass into him.
There's one looking for Doi. It's Nafal Azman. Albirex come away with it. It's Faraz Hassan, unable to keep it in. Hougang need to find spaces in this Albirex half. And it's Lionel who plays it forward to Shafiq Ghani. Goes back to Lionel again. As you mentioned a couple of times during this game, Roshan, Hougang just unable to find options ahead of them. Unable to beat that Albirex press.
Yeah, one of the things that Albirex have been doing really well, I'll come back to in a bit, because Fyros looks like he's in quite a bit of pain here.
He's been on for less than 10 minutes, I think.
Just come back from injury as well.
Very unfortunate if he's forced out of this one. They've asked for the stretcher. Gives time for both teams to regroup.
I'm just wondering if the referees actually decided to make this the cooling break, since you've got a stoppage in play here.
Confirmation that, yes, he has blown for the water break. Doesn't look good for Fyros. His former teammate Nazrul is checking in on him. So frustrating for a player who's just come back from injury. Hopefully he can shake this off and carry on.
Doesn't look very good, at the moment, and I'm not sure they're gonna really risk it. I think he might try and say, look, give me a few minutes to sort of run this off.
That'll be based
Yeah,
purely on adrenaline after all.
He is trying to indicate to the bench there that we'd like a bit of time to see if he can just run this off.
Fahan finds Fabian. Albirex Not really pressing Hougang on this occasion. Tezuka. Yes, Takahashi for support, but the ball goes out of play. A bit too long from Tezuka on that occasion.
Well, they're showing excellent control of this game up to this point, Albirex. With the way you mentioned, I just want to pick up on that point that you mentioned about not really needing to press Hougang. And they don't have to. They don't have to press high. Because just look how organized they are when they get themselves into this defensive shape, into this block, how close the lines are. It's this 4-4-2 that they've got themselves set up in here. And at times when it goes into certain areas or it goes into certain players, yes, they will look to try and apply that pressure. But otherwise, they'll just say to Hougang, look, you can have the ball for these moments.
Yamazaki trying to find Doi.
It's well defended by Yamashita there as he comes across and reads that attempted pass very well. You also see, for the most part, I was just talking about how Hougang don't seem to have these options and to play through Albirex. And it's also because of how Albirex are shutting off those passing angles, how they're positioning themselves so that the passes aren't available. You can just shut off the passing lane, for example. You don't, as long as you've got a bit of awareness of where the man is, over which shoulder, reading of the game as well, reading of where potentially the pass could be made into, just blocking off those passing lanes.
Fabian dropping between the two centre-backs now.
But you really look at just how tight the spaces are. And in these moments, the ball has to move very quickly. The technique has to be spot on if you're going to be playing in those tight spaces. And it wasn't just right there from Kaishu Yamazaki.
Well, Lionel has Kondo for company, does well.
That's a beautiful bit of invention.
Good ball into Doi. Doi with space. Picks his spot, goes for goal. Unfortunately, it goes wide.
That was so much better from Hougang in that situation. A nice bit of invention in midfield. Just from Afik with this step over, beating the lines, and then it goes into Kaishu Yamazaki for really, I think the first time in the second half, has had a bit of space to work with. Plays a quick pass in behind. Was always going to be a very difficult finish. The angle was really against him there.
It's Kondo. Still in possession. Out to Chiku. As Hashioka has time to send the ball in. Only goes out to Shafiq Ghani. Hougang slow to get off the blocks here. Afik No trying to play the ball into Doi, who does well to win it back. This is Naufal Azman to Fabian, and we see Lionel stepping up again. Afik.
Kaishu wants it, and he wants it quickly. He wants it to be zipped into him in these positions there, and he gets it.
Well, he showed the ability to turn his marker. Here's Kaishu on the ball again. Fan Zulkifli puts the ball in, easily dealt with by Yamashita. Now it's Nazrul. 3 players in the box for Hougang, and it finds the head of Naufal Azman, who just got under the header. All the fans are applauding Hougang's efforts. Prolonged passage of play, ending off with a disappointing header from Naufal.
Well, it's a good ball that comes in, and the difficulty for Naufal there is he's kind of standing still as it comes into him. Yeah, and as you mentioned, quite rightly, does get underneath the ball a little bit, can't direct it on towards goal. But they need to look at just that pass from Fabian into Kaishu Yamazaki a little bit early on. They need to look for those a little bit more. Take a few more risks with those penetrative passes into Kaishu in between the lines, who's showing a lot more as well. Just get your head up and get it into him as quickly as you possibly can.
As I mentioned, he has that ability to receive the ball on the turn, and he showed it on that occasion.
And against Albirex, it's, as you see, Nazrul just going down hard here off this challenge. And yes, you need that technique to be spot on, sure. But you also need to be brave in those situations, in those tight spaces, to almost say, yeah, I want it here, and I want to try and make something happen.
But that's confidence in your ability in the end of the day.
Yeah, confidence in your ability, yes. Because they are very organized defensively. They are very compact, especially when they're sitting in the way that they are in the second half.
Kondo still has the ball. Here's again. Skipping past 1, 2, 3. Kondo hits space. Looks for the bottom right corner. This one does ever so well. That should have been 2-0 to Albirex.
Listen, he's a joy to watch. He's a joy to watch, Graba Kondo. Have a look at this. Turns away, 1, 2, 3. Drop of the shoulder, quick change of direction. And just tries to pass it in towards that far post. His one is too much quality. Easily he's able to just get that away from the target.
Ball comes in from Tezuka. Oh, that's a free header and it goes in. Once again, Hougang undone by poor defending at a set piece. It's Albirex, I believe it's Kunimoto, who's got his head to that. He doubled his tally for the night, and he doubled Albrex's advantage here at the Jurong East Stadium.
Yeah, 2 corners, 2 goals. It's incredible. I mean, where's the marking there in that situation? He's got a completely free header. Just have a look at him as well. Completely free. In that area. Players all looking at each other saying, you should have picked him up. Why is he free? Why is he that? Well, you can blame each other as much as you want. A goal's been conceded. I mean, undone by a couple of corners as well. Kunimoto, simple enough finish for him in the end.
Well, there's a break in play actually right now because Faraz Hassan, I believe, is coming off. He's being stretched off the pitch. Out of vision here.
Yeah, no, they haven't made the change yet. It's Hanada actually, number 14 on the touchline. He's getting ready to replace Fairoz. We also saw a substitution for Hougang with Amir Zalani coming on for Naufal. Just to give them a bit more in those attacking areas. There we go, confirmation of that.
Hanada coming on for Fairoz, who unfortunately has to go off due to injury. As we see Hougang with a chance to deliver the ball in. And it's Shafiq Ghani who runs over to the far side. We know that he has a good left foot. Can he deliver quality into the box? As Hougang try to salvage the situation here, try to force the issue. Confirmation that Kunimoto was the goal scorer, the second goal of the night. And this is Shafiq Ghani. Oh, that's gone in off an Albirex player. I'll tell you what, it's game on now. The final 10 minutes against the run of play. We'll have confirmation of who got the last touch on that.
I think it was Takahashi, this man right here, the number 13.
Well, he just come on as well. Sorry, he came on a bit earlier.
Well, Shafiq,
Substitute.
I mean, you spoke about him delivering quality into the box, and
Tell you what, that's a good attacking header actually.
it's just unfortunate for Takahashi that he gets caught underneath it and he ends up flicking it into the back of the net. It's 2-1. I don't think Hougang have done anything to deserve a goal, but they've been gifted one by Albirex. And suddenly it's game back on, which is great for the rest of us.
I'm not sure if Hougang deserved that goal, but we definitely deserve entertainment, and we're going to get it in the last 10 minutes here. This will give a much-needed boost for the Cheetahs to try and get it back. But it's Kondo showing great technique to go past Anders and Lionel. Just couldn't get a shot away. But the touch shown by Kondo on that occasion, simply classy.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, to Lionel's credit, wonderful recovery to get himself back. But Kondo is just pure class. He's just an absolute joy to watch, Kuraba Kondo. And again, on his own there, just taking on a couple of defenders, flicking it above their heads, into space, in behind them. Just couldn't quite find the finish on that occasion. Good recovery by Lionel to get himself back. It's another corner. Have they learned their lessons here, Hougang?
That corner straight into the grateful arms of Izwan. Looking to release Nazrul. Nagasawa with the defensive duties at the back. So we see Shafiq plays the ball forward. Well, he finds a blue shirt. It's out to Doi. Well, Koga was caught in no man's land. I think it's Hashioka who managed to get it away.
Well, listen, Albirex have got to keep their heads in this one here. They've looked in control for almost this entire game, and suddenly panic is starting to set into this defense.
Confirmation that it was Tezuka with the own goal. As you mentioned, some nervy moments for Albirex, who looked in control for the better part of 80 minutes. The ball goes out. It's Anders in a foot race with Kondo. There's a Japanese player who gets ahead of it and wins that foot race.
Listen, I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty certain myself it wasn't Tezuka. But I could be wrong. Apparently it's been given by the officials as Tezuka, but we'll have a look at the replay again later on, perhaps.
Oh, Lionel. Silly foul to give away. It's so important that the players keep their heads on both sides. So we enter a crucial part of this matchup. The final 5 minutes. And we are bound to have some added time as well. Another set piece in a dangerous area. Hougang have to defend this properly. It's Tezuka. Puts a good ball in. Takahashi winning the header. This time towards the right, in the right box, but his header was very tame and not on target. Well, Nagasawa happy to force Izwan to pick it up. As we see Lionel on the ball.
I'm just having a bit of a giggle here because just before that, the ball was played into Amir. And he was under pressure. A couple of Albirex players had put him under. And He ended up losing possession of the ball. Got a shot from Clement Teo. Oh, that's a sloppy error by Afik. Got a shot from Clement not to lose the ball. Amir just put his hands up and said, what was I supposed to do in that situation?
Well, it's good to see passion. Can Hougang claw their way back to steal a point here? Nazrul looking for Doi. Well, Hougang come away with a free kick, but it was a good challenge from Kunimoto. Kaishu Yamazaki plays it out to Fahan Zulkifli. Afik no to Lionel. Well, Amir Zalani again unable to keep the ball. Afik does well to win it back though. This is Shafiq Ghani. Unable to find Afik for the give and go as Koga clears his lines. Hashioka actually was under the ball there. Did well to keep it in.
Yeah, good covering by Lionel. Just making sure he could come across. Get the ball back to his goalkeeper. A chance for Hougang to build again.
Shafiq looking for the run of Doi. Easily dealt with by Kunimoto. Tezuka. It's Kondo. Good ball in. Attacked by Nagasawa.
Yeah, again, it's Lionel just there defensively, making sure he's doing his job, and he's done it well for the most part in this game. Lionel's had a good game for Hougang in central defense.
Must be so disappointing for Hougang to concede such soft goals on the set piece as
It's a nice idea from Tezuka there. You know, he wins the ball
he
off
spotted Iswan, yeah.
of
off the
Afik.
line.
Saw very quickly that Iswan was off his line. You don't mind him having a go there. He's looking to use a bit of invention in that situation to try and extend the lead.
We saw Luis Jr. score a similar goal last week against Albirex. As Nagasawa comes away with it. Storms into the box, plays the ball across. And that's a fantastic goal for Albirex to put the result beyond any doubt. That's the substitute. Hanada found himself in acres of space, but decided to go for it first time. Emphatic volley.
Well, just admire the transition and how quickly they get into an attacking position here. They win it off Yamazaki in central midfield. It's Tezuka and Chiku working in tandem there just to take it off Yamazaki in midfield, and then they push forward so quickly. Out into Nagasawa. Into that space in behind that Hougang defense. Cut back towards the back post, and Hanada making a big impact off the bench, and that has surely now sealed the win and the 3 points for Albirex Niigata. Wonderful finish as well, first time. Struck right through the ball into the back of the net.
Afik looking for Amir. He's not made much of an impact since he's come on. There's Fabian. Good strength shown by the Hougang skipper just to get the ball back to Iswan. As we're looking at 4 minutes of added time here at the Jurong East Stadium. Amir in acres of space, has Doi to his left. Perhaps a bit further wide than what he wanted, but Doi is on the ball. Couldn't find an option in the box. Nagasawa holds it up well. Kondo puts it through. It's no offside given. It's Hanada, plays it out to Tezuka. And Tezuka seals the win for Albirex here. Boy, does he like scoring against Hougang. That's his third goal against the Cheetahs this season. 5 overall for the season. Too easy for the defending champions here.
It's another quick transition from back to front. They've absolutely destroyed Hougang. Quick pass in midfield, one touch in behind it. Defensive line was all over the place a little bit. They're chasing the game, they're trying to get a goal back. And Albirex have just exploited its space in behind. Simple enough finish from Tezuka in the end, but you have to credit the work rate. You know, wanting to get forward into that position. And this is something I've picked out from Albirex this season. Just how quickly they move in those transitional moments of the game on both sides, transitioning into attack, transitioning into defense. The fitness levels, the desire to get themselves into a defensive position or into an attacking position where they can absolutely punish the opposition.
Albirex scoring 2 goals in the space of the final 10 minutes here. To put some distance between themselves and Hougang. Lion City Sailors and Tampines will be watching this game keenly. Well, that attempted cross. Putting his one under a bit of pressure there from Ashoka. Tell you what, the ball is now in Sailors' court. They need to get a result against Tampines to keep their hopes of winning the SPL alive. The result here would send Albirex 6 points clear at the top. Sailors, of course, have a game in hand. Fair result in the end, Roshan, for you?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Hougang were ever really in this game. They got off to a poor start, okay. They responded. Maybe they had a 20-minute spell in this match where they actually created a couple of opportunities. But aside from that, you know, I mean, it's 4-1. We've seen 5 goals. All 5 goals has been scored by Albirex. So I don't think Hougang can have any complaints about this. And it's really just not shown up in this game here.
Hougang, who have looked impressive at times this season, but you can see their shortcomings in games like these. Just unable to assert themselves.
Listen, I've enjoyed their play this season, and I've liked the fact that they've been in a title race, and I like what Clement said in the build-up to this game. You know, we've got to compete, we've got to try and win things, which is absolutely the right mentality to have. Good on them. I'm specifically talking about them in this game, and the performance in this game, in this 90 minutes hasn't been good enough.
As Hamakasha blows the final whistle here at the Jurong East Stadium. Kunimoto with a double before Hougang managed to pull one back, courtesy of an Albirex own goal. But then the result was put beyond any doubt in the final 10 minutes, courtesy of goals from Hanada and Tezuka, who has a knack of scoring against the Cheetahs. Final score here at the Jurong East Stadium. It's Albirex Niigata 4, Hougang United 1. Don't go anywhere, as Colette Wong will bring you the full-time highlights along with Rish Roshan Rai. Nazrul Nazari looking very deflated. He's put in a good shift. Hougang will be disappointed with their performance.
All right, many thanks to Abi and Roshan for commentary on that match. A final score here at the Jurong East Stadium. It's Albirex Niigata 4, Hougang United 1, 5 goals in all in this match. Something we didn't quite expect to see after the first half, Roshan.
I did say we'd see goals. I did. No,
You
build
did.
up. I did.
In the
I did
pre-show,
say
you
we'd see-
absolutely
In the pre-show,
did
I did say we'd see goals. But look, I think the stats support the fact that what I said in commentary, that Albirex have just been absolutely dominant in this game and completely deserved the 3 points, completely deserved the win, and completely deserved the scoreline. I mean, again, it's 5 goals. All the names on the score sheet are Albirex players,
Yeah.
including their own goal, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Just a bad day at the office for Hougang in this one.
I'm guessing that when Hougang United return to training, be it tomorrow, they're going to be working on how to defend corner kicks.
Look, I think the frustrating thing here is if you've obviously got, you study the opposition corner kicks, you study the opposition set pieces, and you line yourselves up in a certain way. This player's marking this, that one's marking that. But if you don't do your jobs individually, then it becomes very difficult. And on 2 set piece situations, we've seen Kunimoto. The first one, he gets a run in ahead of his defender. And on this second one here, he starts again, starts his run early, and there's no tracking of the man into that space. He exploits that space. It's an easy enough header in the end. And he's rewarded himself with 2 goals.
Yeah,
just because
so
he spotted there's some space to go and exploit.
It was 2-0 in the 78th minute, but Hougang, they managed to pull one back in the 81st minute, an own goal by Takahashi.
Yeah, it was Takahashi, I think, here. He just gets caught underneath it, and just as he jumps to try and flick it away, he doesn't get enough purchase on the header, and it ends up in the back of the net. Credit to him, he doesn't feel sorry for himself, just gets up
That's right.
and keeps going. And it could have been an important turning point in the game, but Albirex just didn't allow that to happen. I mean, they went on down the other end, and Hanada just punishes this into the back of the net here. I mean, again, they win it well in midfield. You don't see it there, but Chiku and Tezuka just with wonderful work in midfield to win it off Yamazaki, and then they transition quickly. Nagasawa picks out Hanada, and it's a beautiful finish. Nice control finish at the far post. Have a look at this one here. They just go right through. You can see that backline. He's clearly onside. Backline's all over the place. Very late on. They get bodies and numbers in there, and Tezuka with a simple enough finish in the end. But he does the hard work before that to make sure he's in that position. Hanada with the assist. Albirex in complete control in this one. A well-deserved victory. 4-1. We've been entertained, I think,
Yeah,
Colette. We've been entertained by the
absolutely.
Japanese side. And they've now piled on the pressure on the Lion City Sailors.
Yes.
Yeah, Lion City Sailors with a wonderful performance here.
I mean, we did address the issue of Hougang United and their defense. They conceded 24 goals before game week 15. We're going to add 4 more to that, and that's 28. I mean, that really is an area of concern.
That is something that they will have to, evolve in their game, and something as a club, as a team, they're going to have to try and work out and sort out as well. Look, again, as I said in commentary, and I'm going to repeat it here, I've enjoyed watching Hougang this season, especially at times that the fact that they've given some of these bigger sides lots of issues this season as well. They picked up some good results. Just tonight, the wheels have come off a little bit. Just tonight, they weren't quite there, and it wasn't quite working out for them in this game.
Well, a terrific performance by Albirex Niigata. Let's get some reaction from their coach, Keiji Shigetomi. Here he is.
Hi, Coach KG. It was a very close affair until those 2 late goals. Are you satisfied with your side's performance today?
Yeah, I'm satisfied with the results. So it was a very, very tough match, but we could show our fighting spirits for this game. But however, we have to prepare for the next match soon.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Keiji Shigetomi talking there about their fighting spirit, Albirex Niigata. We always see that when they take to the pitch, but you mentioned something really important that stood out to me, and that was discipline, something that Albirex, yeah, you laugh. Yes, you did mention something important today, Roshan, but that's the discipline that Albirex always show when they take to the pitch.
Yes, and it was so important for them to sort of respond after that defeat against Tanjong Pagar, to respond and show. And I remember you asking me this question as well. about feeling the pressure at the
Yeah.
top of the table. And I said, look, this is an Albirex side that will deal with that pressure. And every game, as Keiji Shigatomi has said in the build-up to this game as well, every game they play with that pressure on themselves, and they want to go out and put that pressure and expectation. They want to win titles, and when you're at that top end of the table, you have to expect this. You have to deal with it, and that's what they did.
In our pre-show, Stanley Yeo, our pitch side reporter, did ask Clement Teo about their hopes of winning the title. He was very, very realistic, but maybe after this defeat, this 4-1 loss, those chances are looking very, very slim. Let's get Clement Teo's reaction. He is pitch side once again with Stanley.
Hi, Coach Clement. It was a disappointing result in the end. Do you feel like you deserve more from this match?
Nope, we don't deserve anything.
Okay. There was an incident early in the second half. Do you feel like your side did not get the decision from the referees?
I mean, sorry, I'm not here to judge a referee. I'm here to judge my players. Yeah? No, I won't comment on this.
Okay, then thank you, Coach.
Right.
Yeah, Clement Teo speaking there to Stanley Teo. Initially did not want to give a reaction to our pitch side reporter, but eventually I suppose he decided it was good for him to talk. But again, didn't say, well, yeah, exactly. He didn't say very much. And in the heat of the moment, they've just come off a disappointing 4-1 loss. He did avoid the question of the referee. Did you see anything wrong with the referee's performance today?
I can't quite really pick out, if I think back across the game, what exactly the incident was. I didn't see.
Yeah.
I didn't really see what there might have been a handball incident in the. There might have been a handball incident. I think in that first half where
in the second half. I think it was early in the second half. In
was
the
it in the
50th
second half?
minute, right here, we're showing
Yeah.
you the incident here. It looked to be a handball.
of Tokiwa. I mean, look, well, we're getting. His arm is away from his body at the time I said that. We're getting to look at it 5-6 times. We don't have that technology, that VAR technology for the referees to go and look at.
Yeah.
So yes, these decisions go against you at times. You got to get on with it
Yeah.
in those situations. Did that go against them? Perhaps it did. Perhaps it should have been a penalty. But aside from that, overall, in terms of the game, Clement said they didn't deserve anything, which is essentially agreeing with what I've said in commentary, what I've said here. So, you know, again, if you're relying on the referee to give you a penalty, you're putting control out of your hands, outside of your hands. You're basing it on the decision of that someone else has to make. And the decision doesn't go your way, you still got to get on with the game. Where's that resilience? You know, you don't get a decision going your way, you don't fall apart. So, you know, I don't think they deserved anything out of this game at all. It was just completely an overall performance.
Well, it was a
overall poor performance.
Yeah, well, it was a great football match for the neutrals and for the spectators watching here. We had plenty on the grounds. We had plenty outside the grounds as well. A final score 4-1, Albirex Niigata over Hougang United. And that is a victory once again for them. And that moves them clear of Lion City Sailors. Have a look at that. That's 6 points clear of Lion City Sailors, but who have played 2 games fewer than Albirex Niigata. Hougang United, they failed in their chance of overtaking Lion City Sailors today with that defeat. Tampines Rovers are 4th. They, of course, take on the Lion City Sailors. That game coming up at the Jalan Besar Stadium on Sunday, and that is a match you must not miss. Young Lions versus Balista Khalsa is one of 2 matches coming up tomorrow. Geylang International up against Tanjong Pagar United. That is the other. So 2 matches live from the Singapore Premier League on Saturday, and on Sunday it's that big one between the Sailors and Tampines Rovers, and we're all looking forward to all those 3 matches, which you can of course watch live here on the various platforms offered to you by the Singapore Premier League and OnePlay. Well, fantastic football and really good to have been here to watch it. Really entertaining. And I know you've got a full week ahead of you in the Singapore
I really
Premier League.
enjoyed it. Looking forward to the games coming up over the weekend.
Absolutely.
And challenge has been thrown down to the Lion City Sailors.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Roshan. Great commentary, great punditry, and thanks so much for your company tonight. Till next time. Bye-bye.